Where are you from?
Australia. I was at when you worked for 1 month. I come to stay at Wat Yannasangwararam.
I see. So, how long have you been Mechi?
I'm not a Meshi. I just have this dress. But yeah, I would like to learn.
Have you been ordained? Are you?
No.
You're not. You just want to put on a dress, shave off your head. It doesn't matter what you are called.
Just a layperson.
Yeah. It's just this is just a shell. The real thing is inside you, in your thoughts, in your behavior, in your understanding. So have you found any peace from your practice?
I'm not sure. Seems like sometimes and other times no.
Still up and down.
Up and down, yeah. It goes between like sometimes it feels very peaceful and then other times I feel frustrated, fearful, this kind of like yeah.
Have you noticed the reason what made you peaceful and what made you restless?
The mind.
I know what it's the mind that is peaceful or restless, but what makes it peaceful or restless?
When it comes into contact with things like thoughts, should or when it has aversion or something, it reacts out of proportion.
Like the mind is like a dog. And it behaves well if you have a leash on. If you let the leash off, then the dog will just misbehave.
It doesn't want to be on the leash.
Yeah. And you know what the leash is? The leash of the mind. It's what we call mindfulness, sati. If you have mindfulness, then you put the leash on the dog, on the mind. And if you have the leash on, then the mind will become peaceful. Although sometimes it will fight, it will resist your leash, your control. This is when it's difficult, because it's like a tug of war between two parties. The mind wants to go the way of the kilesa, and you want to bring the mind into the way of Dhamma. So this is when the stress arises from the practice. But if you persevere, if you endure, and eventually conquer the kilesa, then the mind will become peaceful.
It's very difficult for me as a Westerner because I have a lot of thoughts of I should be doing something, like it's very countercultural to do nothing, to sit and receive, and I find that very difficult.
But you have to use reason to teach your mind that to do things is to create problems. To not do anything is to get rid of problems. Problem here, I mean inside, not outside. The problem, the stress, the restlessness, agitation, and the constant craving, desiring for things is harmful to your mind. It makes your mind feel discontent, never happy, never really happy. Whatever you do, it can give you only a temporary satisfaction, but then another new craving will arise, and then you will become restless and agitated again. So the goal of Buddhist practice is to counter your cravings, your desire to do things, to be somebody or something, to acquire, to seek happiness from the external things, like the sounds, the sights, and through your sensual your what you call your sense doors, like your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. These are all temporary happiness, and it becomes addictive. You have to keep having them. When you cannot have them, then you become sad or dissatisfied. So this is the things that you have to eliminate. Your desire, your cravings for things outside of your mind by using mindfulness and meditation and the right knowledge of what we call wisdom, to see things as they really are, to see that everything that we seek for, that we think will make us happy, is really the opposite. What we think is happy, is good for us, usually turn out to be bad and make us sad, because everything comes and goes. They don't stay with us all the time. When we have them, we are happy, but when we lose them, we become sad. So this is what you have to teach your mind and restrain your mind from going after things outside of your mind.
Do you think it's possible to live working life and practice?
It is possible, but it's just like doing two opposite things at the same time. Working, you are seeking for things outside for you as your refuge, and when you meditate, you seek inside for your refuge. So you will be going in and out, back and forth. So you're not really moving forward one way or the other. If you work, it means you are depending on things outside of yourself for comfort, for happiness. When you meditate, you are seeking something inside, not outside. So you are pulling back and forth, in and out. When you go to work, you send your mind outward. When you meditate, you're pulling your mind inside. So then you will never really go anywhere. Just go out and come back in. But if you stop working and then dedicate all your time to the meditation practice, then you are pulling your mind inside all the time. And then if you can, if you succeed, you can overcome your desire to go outside, then your mind will become peaceful and happy. Then you really don't need to work. The reason why people work are twofold, really. One is to maintain life, keeping the body going. The other is to find happiness from the resources that you have acquired, like money. When you have money, then you can buy things or go places that will make you happy temporarily. But you have to keep buying things and going places in order to maintain this kind of happiness. and one day you will have to run into difficulties because your body that you used to acquire this kind of happiness will not be able to do what you used to do when you get old or when you get sick. Then you will not be able to acquire the happiness that you used to acquire. Or if you run out of resources like money, you cannot acquire the happiness. So there is a downside to this kind of happiness. But if you choose the other kind of happiness, the happiness that get from meditating, calming the mind, stopping the mind from desiring or craving, then you can always have it with you. And you don't need to have anything to make it happen. You don't need the body to make it happen. You don't need money, you don't need things, people or places to make you happy. You can be happy anywhere, anytime, all the time. Even if the body becomes incapacitated or sick or die, your mind still can be peaceful and happy, because the mind and the body are two separate entities. But due to the mind's delusion, it relies on the body as the means of getting happiness, which the body can only provide temporarily kind of happiness. When the body comes to a point where it can no longer serve you, then you have no happiness. So you have to choose whether you want to get what kind of happiness, the physical kind or the mental kind. If the mental kind, then you should dedicate your time to its development. If you still kind of torn between two things, then you just have to go back and forth, and you might not achieve much from your meditation practice, because you keep sending your mind outside, keep sending your mind toward the body and things that the body can acquire for you. That's why if you do this, you will not advance in your practice. It's like walking 3 steps forward and walking 3 steps backward. So you're more or less in the same place. So you have to turn your back on one thing and face the other thing and keep moving. Look at the Buddha as the example, and all his noble disciples. They all abandon or relinquish the physical kind of happiness. And the Buddha used to be a prince surrounded by all forms of physical happiness, but he knew that it's not lasting. When he went outside of the palace and he saw an old man, an old person, a sick person, and a dead person, and he saw a monk, so he saw the future of his body, that if he remained in the palace, eventually his body will become old, become sick and die. And then he would not be able to have any more happiness from the body. But then he see a monk who seek the other kind of happiness. So it makes him have a choice to make. And one night he decided that he wants to try the other kind of happiness. The happiness from meditating, from renunciation of your physical kind of happiness. And after he struggled for 6 years, he became enlightened. He found the secret of what what caused him to be forever restless and craving, and it is his desire, which is embedded in the mind for many long time, and this is the thing that he has to get rid of in order to have peace of mind permanently. At first he knows how to have peace of mind temporarily, like when you meditate, when your mind becomes still, stop thinking, your desire also stop, and then you experience a peaceful sense, a peaceful feeling. But after he come out of meditation and his mind start to think and start to see and hear things, his desire came up again, especially desire not to get sick, get old and die. And that then caused him to be unhappy, and he didn't know how to solve this problem. He sought the advices from different teachers, and nobody knew what's the cause of this unhappiness. Then eventually, through some trial and errors, he discovered that his bad feeling, his feeling of his sadness or unhappiness when he think about himself getting old, getting sick and die, is because of his desire not to get sick, get old and die. So he abandoned that desire and accept the truth of the body. That the body is gonna get old, gonna get sick and die. If you resist, if you don't want to accept this truth, you will always be unhappy, because you have this desire not to get old, get sick and die. That's what makes you unhappy, make you sad. But when he stopped this desire not to get sick, get old or die, then his mind becomes peaceful and at ease, because he sees the truth of the body, that it is temporary, it rises and ceases. If you wanted to not rise and if you only want it to rise and not cease, then you will become sad and unhappy. So he discovered the Four Noble Truths, the truth that makes the truth that make the mind unhappy. The cause that make the mind unhappy is the three desires or cravings: the desire for sensual gratification, the desire to become, and the desire not to become. These are the cause of his mental suffering or unhappiness. And he also discovered that it is possible to get rid of this stress or suffering by using the truth. And the truth that he discovered is that everything that he clings to or possess or want to have with him he cannot have it all the time. Everything is impermanent. Everything will come and then they will go. They will rise and cease, such as the body. The body, once it is being born, it will have to get old, get sick and die. There's nobody can stop this process. And if you resist, you don't accept this truth, you want the body to keep going on and on without ever getting old, getting sick or die, then you will be disappointed and you will be very unhappy. But if you accept the truth that this is the way of the body, and you let it get old, get sick and die naturally, then your mind become detached from the body, and it will not be affected by the process of the body. So you have to teach your mind that whatever the mind have right now, such as your body, your possession, people, your father, your mother, your friend, your relatives, anything that you have that you consider to be your possession. They are not real. They are not your real possession, because one day you will have to lose them all. And if you're not willing to lose them, you will be sad. But if you're willing to let them go, then you will not be sad. And the reason whether you can let them go or not is whether you have the strength to let go. The strength that will make you let go is mindfulness. You have to have mindfulness to stop your mind from clinging, from thinking about things. Because when you think, your desire came up with your thinking. If you stop thinking, then your mind will stop desiring, will stop craving. So you need both. You need the strength to let go, and you need the right knowledge to teach the mind to see the cost and benefit from your clinging or from your letting go. If you cling, you pay the price, you suffer. If you let go, you become peaceful and undisturbed by what you have, what you lose, what you have to lose. So this is the process of training the mind to stop attaching, to stop clinging to things. Because when you cling or when you attach to things, it causes you suffering, causes you mental pain. But if you can let go, because things will have to go, they will not be with you all the time. And if you're willing, you can let go, then you will not be sad or be unhappy. You have to train your mind to be still, to face things in a calm way. Just know that thing comes, and just know that things go. If you have no clinging, no attachment, then there is no emotional feeling involved. Your mind will just become calm, as if nothing has happened. Like when you, right? People you don't know, if they should die, it doesn't bother you, because you don't cling to them. But if people you know, you cling to them, when something happens to them, you become sad. So our sadness or our mental suffering arises from our attachment, from our desire to have things that we are attached to always be with us, to always be good, be well, for instance. But things don't go according to our desire. Things go according to their nature. And the nature of things is that everything will rise and cease. Everything come and go. So you have to always remind this, to teach your mind all the time not to cling to anything. Because when you cling, when they leave you, when they have to leave you, you will become sad. But if you know ahead of time that they're gonna leave you and you don't cling to them, so when they leave you, you won't feel sad. So that's the goal of our Buddhist practice, is to teach the mind, to train the mind to live to exist without clinging, without hanging on to things. In order not to cling to them, you must not rely on them to make you happy. The reason why we cling to them because they make us happy. And the reason why we have to cling to them because we don't have another kind of happiness. If we have the new kind of happiness that we can acquire from our meditation practice, then we don't need to have the other kind of happiness, the happiness that rely on other people and things to make us happy. So this is the purpose of meditation. You meditate to calm your mind. When your mind becomes calm and peaceful, you become happy. And when you're happy, then you don't need to have anything to make you happy. But your mind still have this old habit of relying on other things, other people to make you happy. So when your mind desires to cling to people or things, then you have to use this right knowledge to teach the mind that the thing that you cling to, depending on to make you happy, they are temporary, and you cannot always rely on them. And when you cannot rely on them, then your happiness will disappear and your sadness will appear instead. But if you don't rely on them, you can rely on the happiness that you can acquire from your meditation practice. Then you can let go of things and people. And when they go away, they leave you, you will not be hurt by their departure. So you have to try to develop a lot of mindfulness, because mindfulness is the key to your success in meditation. You want to stop your mind from thinking. You want to concentrate your mind on one object in order to prevent your mind from thinking. Because when your mind thinks, it agitates the mind, make it restless, make it unhappy. But when the mind stops thinking, the mind will become peaceful and happy. And the key to this is mindfulness. So you should try to develop mindfulness all the time. From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. Don't let the dog loose. Always put a leash on the dog. Put a leash on the mind. Don't let the mind think aimlessly. Because when the mind thinks, it starts to create desire and cravings. And when there's desire or craving, the mind becomes discontent. It feels like it needs something to make it happy. But if you can stop the thinking, then your desire or craving will stop. Then you will feel a sense of contentment. So this is the first step to your practice, is to constantly maintain your mindfulness. Focus on one object. You can use your body as your object of mindfulness. Just watch every movement of your body, every action of your body. Don't let your mind go elsewhere. Tie your mind to the body. If you can do this, then your mind cannot think about other things. It can only think about what the body is doing at the moment. And this will make the mind still. When you sit down, when your body becomes still and you focus your mind on one object, such as your breathing, your breath, and if you can keep focusing on your breath and not think about anything, your mind will eventually converge to become singular, become one, and become peaceful and still, and become very happy. Then you know that this is what you want, and this is what you want to maintain, to keep. You can maintain and keep this happiness after you withdraw from your meditation practice by continue with your mindfulness, or by using wisdom or the right knowledge to teach your mind not to go after things or people, because that will only agitate and make the mind discontent and never happy, will never be happy, will not be truly happy. you have to stop going back to your old ways of finding happiness, and try to stay the course. Try to stay with your mindfulness, your meditation. You're using the right knowledge to teach your mind not to go after your cravings, because it will only create more discontent and sadness. So this is basically what you have to do in your practice. And in order to be able to achieve complete success, you have to do it all the time, from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, because your desire, they also work 24 hours a day. When you get up, your desire will start working. So you have to fight to counter your desire by developing mindfulness, by sitting in meditation, and by constantly teaching your mind not to go after your desire or your craving, because it's only will make you more discontent and more unhappy. You might be happy just temporarily when you can get what you want, but then after a while you will have a new desire, new craving, and you will have to go and get more, and this will be endless. And then one day you will come to the time when you cannot get what you want. Then what you do? All you have, then you have just sadness. But if you can maintain mindfulness, can still your mind, make your mind peaceful and calm, you can have happiness without having to have anything to make you happy. So this is the better kind of happiness. The happiness with nothing. To have nothing is to have real happiness. The real happiness is to be without anything, to have nothing. To have things will make you unhappy afterwards, because whatever you have will change and will cause you will make you unhappy, because they either leave you or they change. They used to be nice and then they change to be bad, for instance. So it's not good to rely on other things or people to make you happy, because they are not reliable. The only thing that you can rely on is your ability to control your thoughts, and your ability to control your cravings and your desire. Once you can do this, then your mind will always be content and be happy. And you don't need to depend on anything. You don't need to depend on your body to make you content and happy. All you need is the mindfulness, samadhi, and panya. These are the three things that you need to develop in order to create long-lasting happiness. This is what the Buddha had, and he still have it right now. The body did not, the Buddha did not, his real self did not disappear. His mind still exists, but he can exist without having to have a body. See? Not like us. We have to exist with a body, because we need the body to go and acquire things to make us happy. Because we don't have any happiness inside ourselves, so we have to seek happiness outside of ourselves. But the Buddha, he had established, or he had developed the happiness within himself. So he doesn't need to have a body to go and acquire happiness for him. That's only the difference between us and the Buddha and his noble disciple. we're still seeking for happiness, and we will keep seeking because what the kind of happiness that we seek for is temporary. When the body dies, we lose everything. We lose all the happiness that we have acquired in this lifetime. Then we have to come back and reborn again in order to get a new, more happiness. And this is what the rebirth process is about. It's about coming back and seek for more happiness. And the nibbana is the opposite. It's the stop the mind from seeking happiness from outside by developing the happiness within the mind itself. Once the mind has happiness, then it doesn't need to have the body to go seek for other kind of happiness. So they don't have to have a body to make them happy. We still need to have the body to make us happy, because we need the 5 internal organs to be able to acquire the things, to see, to hear things, in order to make us happy. So if we rely on the body, then we have to keep coming back and get a new body, because this body will only last for so many years, not more than 100 years for most people. Then this body will then die. Then we have to come back and get another body. And we've been doing this for a long time, the Buddha said. The amount of tears that we shed in each life, if we collect them, the Buddha said they are more than the water in the ocean. So you can just imagine how long we have been coming back, reborn. And we will still keep on going like this until we come across the teaching of the Buddha that teaches us to reverse the process, to come inside, not to go outside. By meditating, by using mindfulness. When you have mindfulness, you're pulling your mind inside. And when you sit still and use mindfulness, your mind will become singular, become one, become peaceful, and become very happy. Then you know where true happiness is. Long and lasting happiness is. It's in your mind, it's in yourself. By meditating, by getting rid of your desire and your cravings. Okay? Have you read my books in English?
A little bit. I listened to your talks.
I see. You haven't got my books? Okay, I have a couple books here. My biography. I think I have to speak in Thai now. ยังมีอะไรบ้างนะ Is there anything you want to?
I would like to ask about the Bodhisattva path and this path. With the Bodhisattva path of receiving to liberate all beings. Do you see them as similar, or what's your...
Bodhisattva. Those who, the future Buddha. Actually, Bodhisattva are those who develop their practice by themselves, because they happen to live in the time and place where there was no teaching of the Buddha. Like our Buddha, he had to develop his practice on his own, because there was no Buddha's teaching around at that time. But once there is a Buddha's teaching, it's pointless to become a bodhisattva, because you already have somebody to tell you the way, which is a lot easier than looking for the way yourself. Yeah. Like many teachers, what I heard, even Ajahn, I think he used to be a bodhisattva because there was nobody to teach him. But in this lifetime he came across the teaching of the Buddha. So he said, what's the point of looking for the way yourself when there's already somebody telling you how to get there? So then he embraced the teaching of the Buddha fully, and then he became a noble disciple.
So you don't have to worry. Like sometimes I feel guilty, like maybe this path is kind of not like helping others as much as it could be.
See, helping others is just part of the process of practice. You want to have metta, goodwill toward other people, in order to develop other qualities that will make you become enlightened. If you have goodwill, then you can practice charity. See? You can give, share things, and you can practice sila. But if you have no goodwill, no metta, then you don't want to share things with other people, and you want to hurt other people instead, then you cannot keep the sila. So these are just the qualities that you need to develop. But they are not the only qualities that you have to develop. The most important qualities in all these 10 perfections is the wisdom, which if you don't have it, it's not easy to have it. You know, it's a lot easier if somebody else have it and give it to you. Like look at all the noble disciples. There are many of them that without the teaching of the Buddha, they will still be a bodhisattva, looking for the Four Noble Truths. See? But once the Buddha have found this Four Noble Truths and give it to these people who practice, they can become enlightened right away. So it doesn't matter which path leads you to enlightenment, whether it's a bodhisattva path or whether it's a noble disciple path. It leads you to the same destination. That is nibbana, the cessation of all forms of suffering. So you have, let me give you an example. You have a choice. You can homeschool or you can go to school. Which is better? Which is easier? If you homeschool and you have nobody to teach you, how are you going to learn everything that you can learn from school? See? So you go to school. You have to self-teach yourself and being taught by somebody else. Which is easier? So this is what the difference between a noble disciple and a bodhisattva, which is the same person who try to reach nibbana, whichever way is possible. If there's nobody to teach you, then you have to find a way yourself. But once there's somebody who can tell you the way, why bother looking for the way yourself? That's it, because it takes much longer to look for the path yourself, once there's already a path established for you to walk. So right now, in this lifetime, we already have a path laid out for us. Why deny it? Why and go look for a path yourself? It's the same path. Whether you find it yourself or somebody else find it for you, there's no difference. It takes you to the same destination. The difference is only the time it takes to find this path. If you have to find this path yourself, it's going to take you another 1 million lifetimes, let's put it that way. So you want to go through that 1 million lifetime before you find the path yourself? Take the path that is already here and take you to the same place where you wanted to go. See, it's the situation that forces you to become a bodhisattva or a noble disciple. If you happen to be born in a time when there's no teaching of the Buddha, then you have to be a bodhisattva. You have to look for the path yourself. But if you happen to be born in a lifetime where there's the teaching of the Buddha, then you don't need to look for the path. The path is already there waiting for you. All you have to do is just walk on that path. Maybe this is part of your defilements or your kilesa. They try to block you to entering that path by pointing you to a more noble path to go to. People think that if they go the bodhisattva path, is much more noble than go the noble disciple path. They're the same path, take you to the same destination, take you to the cessation of suffering and cessation of the rounds of rebirth. You reach the same place. So right now the Buddha guaranteed, if you practice according to what he taught in the four Satipatthana Sutta, you are guaranteed to become enlightened either in 7 days, 7 months, or 7 years. So you have this already waiting for you. Either 7 days, 7 months, or 7 years, you will become enlightened. Or you can 7 million lifetimes. You can choose whichever path you want to go. You might feel, your defilement will make you feel that if you can achieve it yourself, you're much better, But the result is the same, whether you find the path yourself or you walk the path that someone already have found for you. You get to the same destination. Like you can choose between walking and getting on a bus. If you want to go to Bangkok, you have a choice. You want to go on yourself, walk. Or you can get on a bus and take you to the same place. This is the two way of getting to Bangkok. Same way, but 2 ways of getting to Nibbana. Find the path yourself or walk the path that has already been established for you. Okay? And once you get there, once you become a noble disciple, you can do a lot more than what a bodhisattva can do. A bodhisattva can only help people physically, but they could not help them mentally, because he himself cannot even help himself, release himself from the mental suffering. How could he help other people from the release of this mental suffering? But once you have become enlightened through the process of being a noble disciple, then you can still teach, you can help people much better than as a bodhisattva can. Because you can help teach people to become enlightened, to be liberated from the mental suffering. Look at all the Ajahn, look at all the monasteries that we have nowadays. They come from Ajahn Mun, basically. Ajahn Mun is the I guess what you would call the forerunners of all the other Ajahn living today. Most of them study from the Ajahn who went to study with Ajahn Mun. Ajahn Chah, even though he didn't practice with Ajahn Mun, but he followed his instruction. Yeah. So, once you become enlightened, you can do a lot more than as a bodhisattva can. So right now, forget about helping other people. Concentrate on helping yourself. But your defilement, your kilesa wants to deflect you away from the path, so you can waste your time. Understand?
Understand.
Okay. So right now, go and intensify on your practice. Forget about everybody.
Where should I go?
Find a place somewhere. There's a place. When there is a will, there's a place. You'll find one. Yeah. Just keep searching, keep asking people, and go check the place. You need two things. You need a good place and a good teacher to guide you.
You're a good teacher.
You can use me as a teacher, but I don't have the place for you. So you might have to go look for a place. Nowadays we can connect through the Facebook and through all this multimedia thing, and you can read my books. And if you have any doubt or question, you can always come and see me. So you don't need to live with me to be able to practice successfully. So right now, what you need is to find a quiet place that allow you to practice full time. I was fortunate to find Lung Ta Mahabua because he encouraged monks to just meditate and not to do any other extracurricular activity. He don't allow us to go take invitation to go outside to people's home to chant and to eat and this stuff. He said, waste of time. He wants us to maintain mindfulness, sit in samadhi, and develop wisdom. So try to find a place where they encourage you to do this sort of activities. So there are many Ajahn who study with Lung Ta Mahabua, or many Ajahn who study with Ajahn Cha, or other disciples of Ajahn Man, that you can go look around. Just keep asking, and you'll find a place eventually. Have you heard of Ajahn Nippon?
No.
Yeah. I heard Ajahn Nippon also has a few Westerners going to his monastery. His monastery is in Loi, near to the Laotian border, next to Nong Khai, and supposed to be quite quiet and secluded. So if you start looking around, I'm pretty sure you'll eventually find a place. You need seclusion, you need the time to do your practice. Keep all the external work to the minimum. We have to do some work, like sweeping, washing, and maybe for the ladies, maybe do some cooking and things like that. But it's only on a limited length of time, not all day long, anything like that. Once you have finished your chores, then you will have the time to practice. The problem is once you have the time, you don't have the energy to do it. So
I find sometimes I get my mind's drowsy. Like I just sit and I don't even know if I was awake or not. After an hour.
So sometimes you need some drastic measure to overcome this drowsiness, and we were taught to use fasting as the means. Sometimes you just have to skip the meal altogether, and then you will not be drowsy. Or otherwise you have to go stay in a very scary place, like go sit in the cemetery or some place like that. Then you will become wide awake.
Okay. And sometimes my mind just gets bored. It's just restless, I guess. It's kind of like boredom or this kind of. I guess I don't know.
You can use contemplation of death, for instance. They will stop you from being bored or from being restless. Because you just ask yourself, what are you being restless for? You're restless to die. That's your destination. So when you start to think of death, and it might calm you down, and it might make you want to do more practice, because you know that you have a very limited amount of time to practice, and you don't want to waste it. Or sometimes you have to think of the Buddha when you feel have no energy to practice. You have to think of the Buddha and his noble disciple, how they practiced, how they fought with the difficulties. Then you give the encouragement to follow the way that they did.
What about talking to people, like
Keep it to a minimum.
Yeah.
Not at all if possible. in the forest temple where I stay, when the monks come together and do chores, we're not allowed to talk to each other. We're supposed to maintain mindfulness. Only talk when it's absolutely necessary. If it's not necessary, then we don't talk. And we have Ajahn and Lung Ta to keep watch. When we start to talking, he will come around. when we see his face, we know we have to stop and we have to disperse. He doesn't want us to congregate. He wants us to disperse and to be in our place to practice. And if we do not do this, then he will ask us to leave his temple, his monastery. He said, this is not the place for us. If we want to come and socialize, then this is not the place, he said. This is the place to meditate, to seek seclusion.
Is it normally very difficult?
Why? Well,
it have as much difficulties as
it depends on each individual. If you have strong mindfulness, then it's not difficult. If you have weak mindfulness, your mind will tend to like to go out, to talk, to do things. Then it will be difficult because you cannot do what you want to do. But if you're mindful and you keep to yourself, then you find that it's very easy. In fact, it's good. It's helpful because nobody come and bother you. See, because everybody is supposed to keep to themselves. See. But you have no strong teacher, and the teacher allow you to go and congregate to socialize. Then you're just wasting your time talking, drinking tea, and eating chocolate or whatever. Yeah. Then you're not getting anywhere. So try to go find a quiet monastery where there's not much activity going on except meditation.
And so in normal day-to-day life, like when I'm doing things like practicing some body awareness, or breath, or is body better?
Anything you can choose, you like. It depends on the situation also. If you're walking or doing something, doing activity, I think body should be a better point to develop your mindfulness, because watching your breath is very difficult.
And like sometimes, what about panya? I think it's quite superficial. Like when I panya when I'm doing things, is that just not worth it?
It's not effective.
Yeah.
It's good, but you do it at the wrong time. Right now you're in the level where you should develop mindfulness and samadhi first, because without samadhi, your panya will be like a knife that hasn't been sharpened.
Even when I'm sitting meditating, I should just do samadhi.
Right. Try to keep it calm as long as possible. Try to stop your mental activity, because this will give you the strength to support your panya. Because the goal is to stop the mind. By using panya, will permanently stop your mind from craving, from desiring. See, samadhi can only stop your mind from craving and desiring temporarily. Once it comes out, when you start to think and see things, your craving and desire will come up again. And if you want to get rid of this permanently, you need panya to tell you that by going after your craving, you are going after suffering, not going after happiness. Once you realize with panya, then you will stop going after your craving and your desiring.
So you want sort of clean, you want your mind to be completely calm all day or something before you practice panya, or what? Yeah,
if that's possible. Because then you can use this calm to resist your desires. If your mind is not calm, then your desire becomes stronger and stronger. Then eventually you might not be able to contain it. And then you end up going after your desire. Go have coffee or tea or something like that. and after having it, then you say, "Oh, I failed the test," because my goal is not to rely on anything to make me happy. My goal is not to rely on drinking coffee, drinking tea, or having something to bite, to nibble to make me happy. My goal is to remain calm and peaceful and not desiring or craving. So wisdom or panya will be useful after you have the ability to resist your desire. If you don't have the ability, then once your desire comes up, you cannot stop it. You'll fall into pieces. So you need a calm mind to resist your desire.
There was one time particularly when I came out of my body and felt like I was going into different realms and everything. Is that?
That's no good either.
Yeah, it's no good.
That's wrong way of meditating. The right way is to bring the mind inside to the knower, to merely know, and to be calm and have equanimity.
And then just stay in that knowing.
As long as possible.
And then once it comes out, back
try to maintain it. Try to maintain it
okay.
with mindfulness if you can. And when you have craving to disturb this, try to use panya to get rid of your cravings.
By seeing its impermanence.
By seeing that things that you crave for is harmful to your mind, like having a cup of coffee or go and see a video or something like that. It's just a temporary kind of happiness, which will make you become more addicted to them. See, you don't want to depend on these things to make you happy. You want to get rid of your dependence on this thing. They are like alcohol or drugs, So you have to look at them like alcohol or drugs. Then you should kick the habit. Should not rely on them to make you happy. Once you see that it's like with an addiction, then you can stop. See.
Sorry, I have one chocolate addiction, but I also find that it gives me energy. Like in the evening, like often I feel quite nauseous, and I feel like chocolate is the thing.
Well, you should take it like a medicine at the proper time, not when you desire. You set a time, like in the forest monastery, we have a time for the tea once a day. Okay, so that's the time for you to recharge your energy. You can have your sugar drinks or whatever you want, but only once, not all the time, because you can drink this thing all day long because it's not against the rules, but it's still not the right way to do it. The right way, if you think you want to energize your body, then okay, take it like a medicine. Take it at the proper time. So usually we are allowed to have this once a day. We can have after our sweeping or before we sweep, we come and have our coffee, tea, chocolate, or whatever that's available.
And then while I'm eating it, to samadhi or panya or what?
Huh?
What should I be mindful of while I'm eating it?
Whether you like it or not. If you like it, then you should stop.
I do like it. That's the problem.
No, okay, then you have to stop then, because you're not taking it as a medicine.
Yeah, I'm not.
You take it as a pleasure to satisfy your desire, your craving. But your kilesa will justify by saying this is for your body, but in fact it's not for your body, because you don't really need it. Some temple, actually, when I first went to Luang Ta Mahabua, he didn't have any afternoon drinks. Once a meal and that's it. The rest of the time just drink water. It's okay. When there's nothing, then your mind don't think for it, don't crave for it. Then you don't feel you don't need it. But when you have it, every time you look at it, you try to find the justification to take it. See? Then the body is the body will be your justification. Oh, the body is weak. If I take some chocolate, then I will be energized. But just a bar of chocolate, what can it do for your body, really? But if you still need it and you feel that you cannot get rid of it, then okay, just try to contain it. Try to have it just maybe once a day. And then see when you don't have any chocolate, how do you feel? See, when you don't have any chocolate, how would you feel? You will feel terrible, right? So then you have to go buy more chocolate. See? So the true way is to have chocolate when you have it. But when you don't have it, then you should not take it. You shouldn't go buy it. Let this thing come by way of charity. Today the lady came up with it. Then we have it. If she doesn't bring it, then we don't have it. You know. Then it's okay. Then you're not craving for it. You know. You take them because it's available. But if it's not available, so what? You know. You should be able to exist without it. So the best way is to exist without it for now. To make it become a habit, so that you can either take it or leave it. Right now you cannot take it or leave it. You always have to take it, right?
I didn't, for the last month and a half of the rains, I had none.
Because there's none to have, right? So why don't you continue on? You're free already. You're free from chocolate. Why do you want to become shackled with chocolate? You'll find you feel better without having to rely on chocolate. Because when you run out of chocolate, you feel bad. So every time you want a chocolate, go meditate instead. Go sit down and concentrate on your breath. Yeah. And pretend you are having chocolate. And when your mind becomes calm, you forget about chocolate and you feel content and happy. Then eventually you will not rely. You don't have to rely on having chocolate to make you feel good.
And also, like when I only have one meal. Sorry, I'm asking so many questions.
No, go ahead. It's all right. Everybody can enjoy.
When I have just one meal a day, I feel nausea in the evening, or like, because I like to do exercise like every second day, and I don't have the energy to do it. But yeah, I know it's probably better for meditation. So what's your advice?
Yeah, don't worry too much about your physical part. Worry more about your mental part. Yeah. Because your physical part, no matter how well you look after it, eventually it's gonna collapse. It's gonna die anyway. But your mind doesn't die. Your mind exists forever. But right now it's very weak. You need to exercise the mind more than exercise the body. And the way to exercise the mind is to meditate. This is the way to build energy and strength for the mind, is to meditate, to try to sit as much as possible. If you cannot sit, get up and walk and continue on with your mindfulness until you walk until you feel tired, then you come back and sit and meditate some more. Just keep doing these two things, walking and sitting, if you don't have to do any other activities. But if you have to do other activities, you should be mindful of your activity, mindful of your body. Whatever you do, just watch that activity. Don't let your mind think about chocolate or coffee or anything, or people.
Sometimes I have this kind of worry, I don't know, it's probably collations, but there seems to be this thing that after I've been meditating at a monastery for a while, like my mind doesn't pay so much attention to like my wallet, keys. It's sort of like slow, like it's like, yeah, obviously it's like a lack of mindfulness, but I don't know what that is.
Well, actually, if you are mindful, I think you will be more mindful of your possession. So it's not because of mindfulness. I think it's more because of the lack of mindfulness. That makes you become sort of not worried, not caring about what you have.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm thinking too much. Like too much sort of like maybe like too early panya sort of intellectualizing.
Yeah. Try not to intellectualize right now. Try to stop your thought first. Try to bring equanimity inside your mind and happiness. Once you have happiness, then you can think things properly. Right now, you cannot think things properly because you don't have happiness inside. So you want to rely on the happiness outside. Even though the happiness outside is harmful for your mind, you still think it's not harmful. Then you cannot let go of the happiness outside. But once you have the happiness inside, then you'll see that the happiness outside is really harmful because they are not permanent. When you can no longer have them, then you become sad. See? You can see this if you have a calm and happy mind. If your mind is not calm and happy, then you think that it's better than have nothing. Even though the future might be sad, but right now I want to be happy. That's what people grab at things to make them happy and don't want to think about the future. Because they know what the future will bring and they don't want to think about it. They deny the truth. And when the future happens, when you lose someone you love, then you start to see the result of your foolishness in going after something that will make you so it's better to be forewarned. You have to keep warning yourself that don't go that path. It will lead you to a sad ending, let's put it that way. It might be a happy starting, but it will always end up sad in the end. Because everything eventually will have to come to a cessation. The party doesn't go on forever, there's a saying. Understand? You can have as many parties as you want, but then they will have to end one day. And when the party ends, then all the happiness that you have acquired from this party will all disappear. And what comes in play is the sadness. So you have to keep reminding yourself that that's not the path you want to go. You want to come inside, you want to remain calm, peaceful and happy. Not relying on anything to make you happy. Then you will never be sad. So the first thing is try to develop this inner peace, inner happiness. And then once you have this, then you can use this as a bargaining chip. Every time you want a chocolate, you say, oh, meditating is better. So you come back and meditate instead of taking a chocolate. And if you keep doing this, then eventually your craving for chocolate will disappear, and they won't mean anything to you.
What about when you have that and then you lose it? Like for example, you have to do something. Is there any sort of danger of getting addicted to that, or is that
having what?
Samadhi.
Well, you lose it. You can always bring it back once you know how to have it. You lose it because you don't maintain it, and when you lose it, you are lazy to bring it back. That's all. So you have to force yourself to. Well, I know how to do it, so I'll have to come back and do it again. And if you force yourself to do it, then you'll get it back again. So what you should do is, once you have something, you should try to maintain it. Don't stop meditating. Because once you stop, then the result of your meditation will gradually disappear. And then when you have nothing, you feel you want it, but you're too lazy to restart it. See? But if you keep maintaining, keep meditating every day, then it becomes a habit in which it will be easy for you to meditate. The more you meditate, the more easy it will become for you to meditate, until it becomes second nature to you. You feel that You want to meditate. When there's nothing else to do, you meditate. Right now, you still have to force your mind to meditate because you still have craving for other things. See? So you have to be vigilant. Once you can meditate, you should not stop. You should keep meditating and try to stop more of the other kind of activities. Bring the time that you use for other activity for more meditation until eventually you spend all your time meditating and nothing else. Then you will always have this peace of mind, happiness all the time. And then you can use panya or the wisdom to teach your mind to stop your cravings. Okay? I think that's pretty much มีอะไร